I never thought I'd be so kind of louche as to describe a film as exhausting, but it is. You could use Terminator Genisys to reprogram prisoners of war.
We've definitely got the fucking tagline for this episode.
The thing about Terminator is it's a fine movie series, but it always could have done with a bit more mustache.
Bit more moustache. Okay.
No, mustache, not moustache.
Moustache? What am I doing wrong?
Welcome to the Georg Rockall-Schmidt Show. Today we're fixing, not really, Terminator Genisys. So, Damien, name one thing about Terminator Genisys. Terminator Genisys. That's good. Go, now. No ers. Go, now. Go.
I'd say, like, CGI fucking Schwarzenegger.
See you next time, everybody. Bye.
Really shat that one out. Let's go.
CGI Schwarzenegger, what are you talking about? He's a real man.
They're meant to retroactively age for the role. Even though it's actually like cookie cutter nonsense, they got involved with some incredible game-changing science to achieve that. It's not CGI at all. That's just a young Schwarzenegger.
Tell me more about. I don't understand what you mean about the CGI of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He appears in 3 different forms in this movie. No, there's a young Schwarzenegger, a la
that's true.
The first movie, and then there's a kind of, I'd say, middle-aged, not quite middle-aged, kind of like late 30s, early 40s kind of Schwarzenegger, kind of a la fucking early 2000s. Then there's modern-day Schwarzenegger, who is 200 years old.
Yes, that's right. I mean, I think the one thing that this movie did really well is it recreated the scenes, that it was obviously heavily referencing very well. It recreated the scene where naked young Arnold Schwarzenegger goes up to those punks and steals their clothes. It recreated the moment where Kyle Reese comes very well, but then obviously you replaced him with a far inferior actor.
So we can say you're not a fan of Mr. Jai Courtney.
Mr. Jai Courtney. What else has Jai Courtney been in apart from that and
Die Hard? I have absolutely no idea.
We're going to find out right fucking now.
And burn my computer.
I'm not a fan of Mr. Jai Courtney, and no, that's it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, so this is not going to be a discussion about Terminator at all. So if that's what you've tuned in for, you might want to just kind of jump ship now, because this has become the Jai Courtney hatecast.
Hatecast, yeah. No, I'm not. I don't have anything to say about him. Although one thing I will say about Jai Courtney, which does redeem him a lot, is he played Gideon.
His monster dong.
He played Gideon in I, Frankenstein.
Of course he did. I forgot about that fucking nightmare of a movie. Jesus Christ.
Did we ever finish it? It was like 8 hours long.
Yeah, we did finish it. It was time of our lives that we'll never ever get back.
It took us 2 sittings, right?
I don't think it did. It definitely felt like it. I think when you say 2 sittings, I think we did bash it out in one night, but I think we had to have a reprieve halfway through.
I don't think we did bash it out in one night. I think we bashed it out over 2 nights. It's just that the day in between those nights, the sun didn't come up.
The blood ran cold in my veins.
So anyway, leaving I, Frankenstein alone. Okay, we should definitely tackle that at some point. Terminator Genisys. I think technically it is a very able movie. I don't want to review Genisys right now. No one needs me to tell them that Terminator Genisys is a fucking train wreck.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Great to see Arnold having fun.
It's nice to see him get out, feel valued. He doesn't get that these days.
I went back and looked at all the PR he did, and he was really into it. He really enjoyed being on the PR circuit, doing interviews about it.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I think he had a lot of fun, and I think that's why for Terminator 3 as well as for Terminator Genisys, I think that's why he does Terminators now. It's just fun for him, and obviously he makes $30 million. What's not to like?
Yeah, that's the fine print,
Yeah,
you can definitely see that. I mean, I'm not surprised that he had such fun doing all the press for it. Those first 2 movies were definitely. Yeah, I'm sure he regards them as his kind of halcyon days, because his career was fucking huge at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason I wanted to talk about Terminator Genisys early on in this podcast's life is because, I mean, I guess as people realize now, we're not really fixing movies or anything. We're just kind of having fun. But Terminator Genisys is a movie I would describe as completely unfixable to its core. Phantom Menace could have been something. Terminator Genisys is fundamentally broken on almost every level, apart from the technical level. You know, the camera crew did a good job. There was great continuity work there. The gaffering, second to none. Excellent.
Those were some fine dollars.
Steve, you did some amazing best boying today. Wonderful.
Best boying. Here's a 20. Money's on the dresser.
Here's a 20. He's worked like 18 hours.
And with that, you can buy some penny whistles and moon pie.
Yeah, because we want to make really clear he's a male prostitute, but he's also 10.
The director, who we will not name in this cast, is a fiend.
I'm sorry.
Oh, snip snap.
Have you been reading a book of 1930s slang this week or something? Because that's off your trolley.
Off your trolley. Excellent.
It's all Simpsons, isn't it? Terminator Genisys is, I think, broken not only in terms of its script, but at the very level of its concept.
I didn't kind of confidently grasp it, and I think I don't think I'm alone in that, really.
I mean, listen, obviously the Terminator movies are fundamentally, with the exception of Salvation, about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have really a soft reboot, as I can see it, where he can pass the baton on to somebody who's going to be the next Terminator. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But from what I've read, apparently Arnold wants to do another Terminator film, and then after that, he's going to pass the baton on to his son, Patrick Schwarzenegger, who, from what I can see, looks like a completely normal human being. He's not, this incredible machine of a man. Well, regardless, even if he did look exactly like Arnold Schwarzenegger, how do you do that? Like, Daddy Terminator has a baby Terminator. What the fuck?
Oh, I don't know. I know that it's going to be some, like, tacky fucking shoehorn plot. It's just like, well, like Skynet has decided that if they are going to, create these bipedal machines to conquer humans, which I don't think is the most efficient way to do it anyway.
No.
They could, rather than, having a human tank of a man, they're going to do, I don't know, maybe this Terminator is more linguistically skilled than combat. I don't know.
Oh, well, that Terminator charmed me into dying.
Well, whatever's left of human society, he's infiltrating their kind of political hierarchy or something like that.
Because it's got kind of soft reboot elements in there, and for some reason my point is that the soft reboot elements are with the Kyle Reese character and the Sarah Connor character.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that is utterly bizarre. That is such a bizarre concept. You want to rewrite these people and change their entire lives so that Sarah Connor isn't this frightened woman who runs away from a Terminator, and then in Terminator 2 is this woman who's trying to raise a son who will become the messiah for humanity. She's just Lara Croft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I don't get why you would think that was a good idea. It's not even like the execution is bad, which it is. Why would you choose to do that?
I don't understand it at all. I will have seen like the character John Connor in like many different incarnations. You can put like John Connor in front of me, and chances are I'm not going to recognize it straight off the fucking bat. So I don't know how you're expected to care about any of these characters when, at least in my instance, you can't fucking recognize them.
But yeah, because these characters are nothing like the people we've gotten to know. I mean, I always thought that was a weird thing about John Connor, because it was Edward Furlong, who I thought was really good, and then we had Nick Stahl as John Connor in Terminator 3, and again, I think he was good, but he was very different from the way Edward Furlong played him. And then you have Christian Bale, and he's basically Batman.
Yeah.
So you've got this kind of like sassy kid who goes to being like quite a timid young man who goes to being a complete badass action hero.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a bit of a flaw in the series, but that's nothing compared to rewriting Sarah Connor into Emilia Clarke on her day off.
Yeah,
Emilia Clarke is just playing herself, isn't she?
Well, I imagine so. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't look like much of a stretch. It doesn't look like a character at all. It's just here, read some words.
Yeah,
As we said, there's no direction in this movie.
I mean, when we talked about this on the phone and we were deciding which film to do next and everything, I said to you, "Do you think it was the script or do you think it was her?" And I mean, you said at the time it was both. What do you think now, having rewatched the film?
I focused on different things this time. The whole recasting. Well, it's not. I say recasting. Obviously, they can't really get the same people to keep playing John Connor.
No. I mean, yeah, right. Okay, listen. I accept that Linda Hamilton didn't want to do Sarah Connor again anyway after Terminator 2, and even if she did now, yeah, she'd be a fairly old lady. So just don't do the film or get different characters or something.
You know what really kind of baffles me about this movie is I guess they did the whole time travel thing because it was quite integral to the first movies and what have you. But they've obviously rehashed it every single time, and it's just I don't know. With Skynet, is this almost all powerful fucking artificial intelligence?
Yeah.
I just don't understand why the way it's working with this time travel nonsense, right? It obviously talks about Judgment Day when the missiles went flying and wiped out 99% of humanity. And it's just, I just don't understand why it would build time machines after that, It would surely, if it needed to wipe out the rest of the human race, I wouldn't even waste time building bipedal robots, I still think more missiles would be much more efficient.
I agree. I think that this is a red herring because if you start going into the logic of any time machine film, you're going to just go cross-eyed. But...
Well, I'm not even talking about fucking time travel here. It's just in terms of waging war on humans.
I agree. You don't need bipedal robots with machine guns. It's just, there's some humans over there. Let's spray some anthrax, isn't it?
I'd much rather see a movie where there is as I say, this artificial intelligence bent on, for whatever reason, wiping out the human race, but just does it in this kind of miraculously kind of methodical way. And there's no kind of hammy robots kind of fighting them on their kind of, fighting humans on their terms or anything like that. It's just, carpet bombings and biological warfare.
Yeah.
It's just the stories of the few remaining survivors as they start, as their lungs are filling with blood.
Well, I think the really scary thing about an AI, which became self-aware and had the awareness to know that it wanted to destroy humanity, that humanity was a threat. I think what it would do is it would become self-aware. It wouldn't launch the missiles. It would become self-aware, and it would make sure it had complete control of everything before it did anything. Mm-hmm. And it would be a case of all humans are dead in 24 hours. It would do so many things, wouldn't it? It would release these biological agents which had these incubation periods of weeks, so that everyone in the world became infected with something before they even knew there was a disease. It would
Mm-hmm.
it would detonate these huge nuclear weapons in the atmosphere, which would just destroy your life and fill the world with radiation, because that's not going to affect it.
Well, I know I'm being a little bit of a stickler. It's not,
Stifler.
But Stifler. There was just, I could not suspend disbelief for a second. It was just irritating.
So you're saying that in Terminator 2, if you want to kind of look at it logically, if you want to kind of be a general about it, Skynet wouldn't do that. But it doesn't matter because it's a really great film. Mm-hmm. You can forget about it. But in this, it's just so bad. You just find yourself going, nope, that wouldn't happen. Nope.
No, it kind of suffers from that fucking Walking Dead syndrome. It's just where
you go, no, you wouldn't do that.
Yes, of course. But I'm always, when I'm having this kind of hyperbolic conversation, it's with fucking Skynet. It's like, you wouldn't do that, or that, or that. Fucking hell, you're not even trying to fucking wipe these people out.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Well, listen, back to Emilia Clarke and Jai Courtney taking over these roles that, even though Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese, they weren't these characters that were in the entire series, I think people were pretty attached to them. But I remember reading the review on RogerEbert.com about Terminator Genisys when I did my video about how the Terminator series had changed over time. And I've just got it in front of me by Christy Lemire, and she says of Sarah Connor, the way Emilia Clarke portrayed her was almost like a Muppet Babies version of Sarah Connor. Do you know what the Muppet Babies are?
I know of them. I kind of makes me think of Tiny Toons. I'm sure it's
Right.
kind of stone's throw from that.
Yeah, kind of like that, and whatever the fuck that is, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you've just referenced some hardcore gay porn. I don't know.
You're trying to stitch me up. I see what you did there.
Um,
Yes, and it is marvelous.
we were going to say wubberific.
I was going to say wonderful. I can pick.
Well, the thing about her describing Sarah Connor in this as a Muppet Babies version of Sarah Connor is I think it's completely right, and I think actually the entire film is like a Muppet Babies version of Terminator. It's very comedic, it has lots of comedic beats. I would describe it as the most wet film, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
Kind of. I mean, yeah, I've got a kind of sense, but can you just elaborate a little bit?
It is
a wet movie.
It is in no way dry. It is not a dry movie.
Well, I suppose that was the most logical explanation.
Thank you.
I feel a bit dumb.
Well, I don't know. I think Terminator 2 definitely had these comedic beats, but it was quite wry about it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like full on. I mean, it's kind of like one step above Norbert.
Yeah. I mean, it does feel like Schwarzenegger could have just had a T-shirt under that leather jacket that just said "I'm on holiday,"
Right?
Because he was just I mean, he had loads of beats in it, and I don't they don't hate it, but you can just see for him it's just as I say, like a holiday.
Yeah,
he's just there for.
There's no sense of peril or anything like that. I mean, there's all these stupid catchphrases, old but not obsolete, and stuff like that. I mean, that's one of the better ones. But because every time something happens where someone's dangling off a bridge or they're about to be killed, they have to like quip,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to be a joke. And there's no kind of one scene where you think, oh fuck, there's a Terminator there and they're going to get their head crushed or something. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, not at all.
So I came up with an idea. All right.
Oh, he's getting the pad out. This is going to be good.
Okay, yeah, you can hear that, can you? So this is really, really small one. Same beginning as Terminator Genisys. However, in this version, Emilia Clarke and Jai Courtney are burned alive and the Skynet Terminator returns to the future. Determined not to let Skynet win, Arnold establishes himself as a teacher to groom and mould the next John Connor, in a film I like to call Kindergarten Terminator.
I mean, I was sold when the two of them were burned alive. I mean, that was quite gratuitous. It's just like the Terminator succeeded. Just like, no, they were burnt as effigies, at the fucking stake.
So my serious solution is dead boring. It's just we've already had one film in the future. So if this is Genisys, if you're gonna call it Genisys, which I think is an atrocious name, I'm sorry. I know that's petty. Genisys, because system, you see, Genisys. If this is Genisys, could it be the bridge between number 3 and number 4? Could this be the film where we see how the timid John Connor in number 3 becomes the rough and tough soldier in number 4?
I like the little curl on that delivery there.
Yeah, well, he's a
vagabond.
He's a big old Wellington boot. Could the film be about John Connor's early attempt when he's still in the bunker to unite humanity, and how he constantly fails at the beginning, and it looks like they've miscalculated something. It looks like Skynet is going to completely overwhelm them, and then at the end he becomes this leader, and he does regroup this routing contingent of humans. Could it be that? I know that's a very standard sci-fi, a bit like Salvation was a bit of a standard sci-fi, but I think it would have been a better movie.
Mm-hmm. I think, it would feel like a more logical movie as well.
Right.
Yeah, this just felt just kind of like an old turn for like Schwarzenegger. So we've said at length at this point.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love Schwarzenegger, I just don't think it works with him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's an old guy now. He's 70. I think he was 67 when he filmed this.
Fucking hell, I didn't realise he was that old.
Yeah, I mean, he looks great for that age, for sure, but he does look a lot older. You have to write that in, or you have to do the CGI thing, one or the other. And I just can't see how you can really justify him being 67 without doing what they did and oh yeah, this is Pops. Oh, he's a Terminator. Oh.
I think if you could make, if you're going to make it like So Ham, you should have like really gone for it. So almost so that it was kind of almost a parody of itself, maybe.
Well, I think it almost was a parody of itself, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I've got another idea, which could be if we're going to talk about parodies, this might be the one. Okay, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Skynet is minding its own business when humans from the year 2379 travel back to kill Skynet's mom, Mr. Dyson, of vacuum cleaner fame. Will Skynet be able to defeat a superior enemy, or will the humans destroy a sentient being for their own selfish needs? Does not include Emilia Clarke or Jai Courtney.
Sold off the back of that alone.
Thank you.
Do you have a title for this?
Yeah, Terminator 5, not including Emilia Clarke or Jai Courtney.
Like really running that into the ground.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I've got another one. This one's a bit more wacky.
Okay.
You want this? Should
I do. I would like a wacky one, please.
You would like a wacky one. Wacky one. You got to say it with the H before and after the W.
I would like a wacky one.
A wacky one.
A wacky one.
So that's a Spanish John who whips it out. Never mind. Skynet sends a Terminator back to the Renaissance to Italy to kill the Conero family, a well-to-do merchant family. Arnold is also sent back and made to look old so that the bad Terminator doesn't recognize him or some shit like that. Arnold defeats the bad Terminator, maybe on a high-speed gondola ride, but is trapped in that time zone. Without sufficient capabilities to completely destroy himself, he invents a flying machine to fly over Etna and jump in. This inspires Leonardo da Vinci to make a prototype Terminator out of wood and string.
Does he succeed?
Yeah, and that's what becomes the future Terminator, isn't it? Obviously, think about it.
Oh, fucking hell.
Circular.
Oh, I can't let you down.
Circular.
He doesn't get his prototype right, and it's just Johnny Five.
Like it's still this.
Like how he sources the metal, I don't know.
It's still this sentient thing. It's still like super intelligent, but it's like, oh fucking hell, it's Johnny Five. Back to Etna with you.
I always thought like the design of the Terminators was kind of comical. I don't know, is it if it's just me, but I always thought those metal
like the grin,
the metal skulls and what. Yeah, they always had these big comedy grins on, and I never kind of thought they were formidable.
Oh, as a kid, I thought they were terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it isn't so much a grin; it's just a skull. It's just a metal skull.
Okay.
Skulls are always smiling.
Yeah, but this, I don't know, this feels like more so. I don't know. I can't explain it. I just thought it always had this cheesy grin, and I never kind of, saw them as this like terrifying thing. I thought the shape-shifting thing was quite formidable, but like the actual Terminator, when you see them without the skin, maybe it's because it was the effects themselves were like so, you could see so slow and cumbersome. It's like, I can't buy that as a generally threatening thing. Maybe the giant laser cannon they were always wielding is, but like...
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why you would make them into that human form if they were going to have skin over them and stuff like that, but surely if you were kind of manufacturing these things just for frontline troops, I mean, why give them teeth?
Yeah.
Why give them such nice teeth?
Why give them any kind of like human form?
Right.
I would say, if they had legs at all, I would say like 4 legs would make it a lot more kind of efficient and faster. I would say something with caterpillar tracks. I would say like Johnny Five, if rather than that fucking head, it's just the massively
Yeah, but then how do they get upstairs if they've got caterpillar tracks?
Oh fucking hell! I haven't done my research. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I mean, really, what it would be just drones with vats of napalm in them, wouldn't it, or something like that?
Yeah. And I'd still quite like to see that movie.
I don't understand. Why do you think that it went from Terminator 1, which is pretty much entirely serious, Terminator 2, which has this kind of wry sense of humour, Terminator 3, which is quite a bit more wacky, Terminator 4, which is both devoid of any comedic value and any charm. I think Terminator 5 is an effort to make these series both charming again, but also, what do you think about J.K. Simmons?
It's one of the things I liked for like the first few seconds seeing him in this, but I was kind of, I don't know, it's one of the things that really kind of broke my heart watching it more and more, because it's just such a dirge role for him, and I really like J.K. Simmons.
Apparently, he ad-libbed a lot of his lines, so maybe he had fun. Yeah.
Well, that's fair enough. I'm sure that was probably like in his writer, when he's like, "I'll do it, but don't you dare give me a fucking script." He threw it out. So the script is not my fucking tempo.
I was going to say, wouldn't that have been better if Emilia Clarke had just run to him and said, "Oh God, I need your help, not my tempo."
Like throws a chair at her,
Oh, I get it. You're Sarah Connor. You're a Russia.
She's like, what? Like immediately the stagehands come on and hold him back because they know he's gonna fuck her up.
Why not send a Terminator back to any point in history? Why not send a Terminator back to kill Sarah Connor's mum or Sarah Connor's mum's mum? Like, you could have a Terminator set in the 1930s, couldn't you?
Yeah, I guess that's something I think they're just kind of they're trying to force it kind of in line with the rest of the movies, because I mean, if you must have this time travel element to it, it is kind of open to a lot of fucking possibilities.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of feel like most of the fans would have been like, it's way too on the nose if they actually went that far back. It's not actually,
That's how they speak. I do love a good Terminator. I do, but
I do love a good. Yeah, see.
I just walked out of a Philip Glass concert and I was thinking, Terminator Genisys really does open itself up to a lot of possibilities, doesn't it?
And it's not so much that it was poorly written. It's that disappoints me. It's fact it's a wasted opportunity.
A wasted opportunity. That's what I think so much about the recent rendition of Swan Lake. Is a wasted opportunity. It could have been a Terminator film.
Zombie, take a letter.
Zombie, the chocolate icing.
Oh my!
Terminator, as you said, is open to a lot of possibilities.
Yes.
Right. So I was kind of looking at the poster and I was thinking, well, what is this? Because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger and three people we don't really know or care about. I mean, they could be characters from other series that we know, and it could have drawn more people in. So let me ask you this. Why couldn't Terminator also occur in the Lethal Weapon series? Because I remember the beginning of Lethal Weapon 4, there's the guy in the suit with the flamethrower, and for some reason Danny Glover has to take off his clothes and distract him. Why couldn't that have just been like, "Hey, Terminator, look over here"? That's how Danny Glover sounds to me.
No, it was a flawless impression. Anyone that says otherwise is obviously a dickhead.
Obviously. I mean, not just wrong, they're a dickhead.
Like,
why?
There is no question. Not that their intelligence is subpar, but their reputation, they should only be thought of as a fucking dick.
It could end with, Danny Glover crawling through a machine which is about to kind of close on him. A reference to Terminator 1, obviously. There's Riggs there, he's got a broken arm. Mel Gibson there with a broken arm, he's got a bullet hole and everything, and the Terminator grabs Danny Glover and he's about to kind of put his metal fist through Danny Glover's beautiful face, and then Joe Pesci comes along and just starts kicking the shit out of the Terminator's ribs, and he's like, "Never, ever, motherfucker."
Yeah.
It's also in the same universe as
Right, yeah,
Casino.
no, it's just like every movie that's ever existed exists simultaneously. They've messed with the fucking timeline
that's
too
right.
much, and so many universes are collapsing in on each other.
It's Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, and Danny Glover's like telling Mel Gibson what to do, but Mel Gibson will only respond to Danny Glover through a beaver. Right, and then, and there's a bit where Arnold Schwarzenegger says, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." And it's like, but it doesn't bleed, it's a machine. Any other ideas for hybrid movies with Terminator? Terminator. It's a lovely cross between Terminator and a cooking show where they use lots of nutmeg.
And if it's anything food related, there's obviously some room for kitchen nightmares. I think
Can Chef
Ramsey become the new Terminator? Is this how we improve all movies? We just put Gordon Ramsay in them and shout at people.
Gordon Ramsay's the golden god. Everything he touches turns to lasagna. Nutmeg-filled lasagna. It's like, oh yeah, this. Yeah, I mean, I really like the mushrooms in this lasagna, but you can really taste the Terminator.
Oh yes, love it if they produced a line of of Terminators all in the.
All like Gordon.
All like Gordon, yeah. But whatever wild turns this movie has taken, like the last shot of the movie is, it's opened up for a sequel, obviously, because it's going to be a smash hit fucking success. Have you not listened to us? Yeah. So Skyrim.
Skyrim. You're gonna say Skyrim.
Skyrim is an artificial intelligence. Skynet's
That took over your life between
it did.
2012 to 2013.
Much like a lot of people.
Oh, you're going to say women? Much like a lot of women. Skyrim, much like a lot of women, is an artificial intelligence. Sorry, continue. Continue.
Continue. Skynet. The movie closes with Skynet putting its counterforce together, and the final shot of the movie is a warehouse with thousands upon thousands of Gordon Ramsays ready to go.
And like they're all there with like guns advancing onto the the surviving the resistance's infantry, and they're all saying stuff like that duck is so undercooked it is still quacking.
No, they're not going. They're not going for direct warfare. This is what I'm talking about earlier, about kind of infiltrating society, right? Because Skynet's been crushed, right? So it's just human society is still limping on, right, across the globe.
I understand. So they're going to bring down society by destroying the restaurant industry.
No, not at all. Skynet's just got the wrong idea. It's just landed on one image of a human being, and that's how it's just replicating that, ad nauseum. But as I say, it's going to spread these out over the globe now. So what you've got is you've got Ramses for every kind of ethnic group to infiltrate every possible ethnic group.
Right. Okay. Okay, I'm not even going to say it.
No, I don't think we should.
So when you watch Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmare, and you've got somebody who's saying he's from Scotland. What does he know about Cajun cuisine? It's like just wait.
You're fucking shit.
Yeah, because obviously we want a really Scottish Ramsay. No, man, we need some more reggae sauce. If he's in Jamaica, obviously.
Now, how has Skynet kind of, affected his image to infiltrate a Rastafarian crowd? Is it blackface or is it just dreadlocks?
That's a good point. I always would want to know in Terminator, like, okay, so, LA is destroyed and these people are fighting on the outskirts of LA. What's happening in Jamaica?
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's still a tropical paradise.
There's still people drinking rum out of coconuts. That's what I'm led to believe Jamaica is. Yeah, I think I've been to Jamaica, haven't I?
All it was grass skirts and ukuleles.
Yeah, and the occasional bit of gang violence. Yeah, it's all whatever. Like, yeah, is London destroyed? I mean, are there men in like tatty red tunics with bearskin hats fighting Terminators in London?
Well, maybe that's something that's never been clarified about Skynet. Maybe it's only America that's decimated. It's only decided that's the incredibly weak culture, and that's what it needs to eradicate. Everything else is fine. It's just like incredibly fucking racist.
Yeah, like it's not even America. It's like California and bits of Colorado or something.
Like the Bible Belt is fine because Skynet is also Christian.
This is the rapture to Skynet. It thinks it's doing God's work.
It's just an all-powerful missionary.
I don't know. I always wanted to know what was going on with Skynet in other places which weren't LA and all of that. And yeah, I don't know. Terminator Genisys could have done that.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not to go into kind of the logical flaws of Skynet, but there was always a thing where from Terminator Salvation, it was kind of established that these were all robots that did their own thing, and they weren't connected. And I just didn't understand why Skynet couldn't see through all of their eyes. I mean, they shouldn't be individual entities. They're all just one thing. Skynet is one consciousness, right? And these robots are just tools of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you shoot down, a Terminator plane or something, or you kill a Terminator that's walking about, Skynet must immediately know, okay, well, we've lost a unit there, so there's people there.
Mm-hmm.
Go and deal with that. No?
Yes, I agree. But it's like I said before, they went for obviously the cheap cash cow route.
I think what should have happened is I think that in Terminator Genisys, John Connor should have gotten to a big stone head and flown into the center of Skynet.
Yes, go on.
And I think that he should have been wearing a leather jockstrap and bandolier and had one rocking ponytail.
I was going to ask, how has he fashioned his hair in this instance?
He's fashioned his hair well. I mean, it's very much like a 55-year-old English teacher from the 1970s. Even with the mustache.
And so what is the strategic advantage here? What is the end goal of...
the end goal of him having a mustache?
Well, of infiltrating Skynet as such.
He infiltrates Skynet and then he causes lots of problems and he just destroys it. Obviously, that's what happens.
What does he just kind of wipe his dick on stuff, or
is
that why he's in this bandolier? I'm trying to kind of ascertain the combat efficacy of his garments. All right, I think it was a reasonable question.
That is never established in Zardoz, is it? Why is he in that?
You would think plate mail would be good for a warrior, not a bikini.
Or fucking jeans. Anything.
Levi's.
Levi's. George! Join us next week where we'll be talking about the What were we going to say?
Thank Christ.
Okay, I'll leave a gap for you to say that.
Okay.
Well, that's the end of our Terminator Genisys podcast.
Thank Christ.
Shush.
Cheap shot.
Thank you very much.
We rehearsed that as well. I didn't realize I was going to get shut down.
It's all edited out. None of this is. You can moan, you can whine. Just
fine.
Join us next. Shush. Join us next time.
If it's going to be edited out, I'm going to get my fucking hate speech in now.
All right. Okay. Join us next time where we will be discussing what Super Mario Bros. 2 could have been if Super Mario Bros. 1 hadn't been terrible and if Bob Hoskins wasn't dead, I guess.
All right, save it.
That was Mrs. Dynamite with milkshakers. All right, awesome. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.
See you next time. Bye.